Hello and welcome to Mini Puppet Adventures. My name is Manuel Heredia and this is part 2 of the series. Today we start the assembly of the Mini Puppet. Now, the assembly instructions recommend to start by building the legs. However, my advice is to start with the assembly of the hips because this will simplify the calibration process later on. We need to install 3 servos to the hip casing, which is this 3D printed part here. The process is quite simple, but there are a few steps where we need to pay a bit of attention. There are 4 hip assemblies: front left, front right, rear left, rear right. I will only demonstrate today the rear left. The other 3 are very similar, but you need to pay attention that you're using the correct hip casing and that the orientation of the servos is the right one. Please refer to the CAD model if needed. So, let's start. It's a good idea to put aside all the bits and pieces you will need, including the screws and the tools. Besides the tool provided in the kit, you will also need a star screwdriver, a hex key, and a soldering iron. Okay, so first we attach the horn to the axle of the servo with a shorter length cable, the one with 9 centimeter cable. We simply press the horn gently in position, paying attention not to force the bearings. Next, we will attach the servo to the hip box. We will use the hex key and a 6mm screw to secure the axle. You need to pay attention because the 4 hip boxes are different. So refer to the illustrations or the CAD model to ensure that you're using the correct one. So there's left and right, front and back. Next, we will use the star screwdriver and the self-tapping 6mm screw to secure the tip of the horn also to the hip box. Okay, perhaps one last push to the axle. That's it, we're ready. The 2 servos with a longer cable go inside the hip box. Now, one problem I found when trying to attach them is that the 6mm screws indicated in the instructions are not long enough to thread properly into the inserts. You see, you cannot attach them. One possible workaround I've seen is using longer screws, of course, like these 8mm ones. The problem with this approach is that you will need these screws later in the assembly. However, if we turn around the box and we inspect it, you will notice that these inserts are not completely flush on the surface. So one thing you could do is using a soldering iron and then push the inserts a couple of millimeters deeper into the part, like this. You see? Well, you see this is deeper than the other one. Well, remember that the tip of the iron should only touch the insert, not the plastic. Wait for the insert to heat up, just enough so that a little bit of the plastic is melting, and then push it gently to move it deeper. I think this is good. A couple of millimeters is enough so that this 6mm screw will properly thread into the inserts. However, if you do it like this, you need to be careful that there is no remaining molten plastic blocking the hole. Otherwise, you'll not be able to install the screw from the inside of the box. You can clean the hole using a longer screw, like this one. You install it from the outside and then screw it all the way in, and this will force out any excess plastic blocking the hole. You then remove it, and you have a clean hole. There may be some remaining leftovers, so you remove them with a knife, like so, and that's it, okay? An alternative way of doing this is to install the 6mm screw from the inside. So we will do it on a different hole, on this one,
before you push the insert. So you leave it installed, okay? Then you turn it around and use a soldering iron to heat up just like before and to push it. You need to be patient if you do it like this, because there will be more metal and it will take a bit longer to heat it up until the plastic is melted. So it will take a bit longer. Remember to be gentle, okay? Remember to wait until the part is cooled down before you remove the screw. Otherwise, you risk damaging the part, the 3D part. Okay, but then you can remove it and you have a clean hole there. Okay, and it will be possible now to screw the motor. So whichever way you choose to do it, okay, you need to do it in all the holes. And then you're ready to install the two remaining servos. Remember, the ones with the 15 centimeter cable length. So you fit them on the hole and then you attach the 4 screws, 6 millimeter long, and you attach them securely in position. So I leave you to it. Remember, please, that the 2 servos that go inside of the heat box are the ones with the longer length cable, the ones with the 15 centimeter cable. And once you've done this, then your hip will be ready. And you need to repeat this process 4 times for the 4 hips of the robot.